we have someone very special to welcome. Now, this is my dear friend, our girl, Deborah J. Stewart. And let me tell you about her before I bring her on. She has a master's degree in early childhood education. She has spoken at the NAEYC Conference, National Association for the Education of Young Children. She has over 30 years in the field as a preschool teacher, director, and owner, and many more titles. She ran her own private preschool for almost 10 years. She built a giant blog, teachpreschool.org, and a following of over 1 million people. And now she runs her Kindy Ready program, an online preschool. Most importantly, she's the best online preschool teacher I know. And she started teaching online preschool before any of us. She was teaching online preschool before the pandemic. And she is here to show us today how to teach online preschool hands-on, right? How can you use developmentally appropriate practice, DAP, in an online preschool classroom? Let's give it up for our girl, Deborah J. Stewart. Show up in the comments, blow up those comments and say, hello, Deborah, my girl. And Deborah, welcome to our summit.
Teaching online, man, when I first started teaching online, I'm going to be straight up with you. I was skeptic, as I was the biggest skeptic there was. There is no way this can work. And also, there's no way these kids will sit still and listen to me. And there's no way it can be developmentally appropriate. And there is no way that they can learn, and that it's everything I don't believe in. Absolutely. So when I first started doing it, I didn't have I thought, but I also thought, I'll find a way. I'll make a way. I have to. I have no choice. So you just have to make a way. So the whole debate or question, is teaching online developmentally appropriate? If you find a way, you can make it anything you want it to be. And that's what I did. And that's the same thing as in your classroom. There is no difference whether you're in a physical classroom or you're online. You have to find a way. You have to find a way to reach your students. You have to find a way to get them actively involved. You have to find a way to get them engaged. You have to find a way to capture their interest, and you have to find a way to keep it hands-on, play-based, interactive, all those things. So let's talk about a few things that I did to try to help me with that. And I have a feeling you guys are probably way more creative than I am, so I'm probably not going to be surprising you with anything, but I do hope you'll have fun. Let's have a little fun with some of this. So the first thing we need to do is I'm going to see about sharing my screen here, and I'm going to show you a little bit of PowerPoint here. Let's see. And you should be able to see it. You let me know if you can't, but I think you can. I got a thumbs up here. All right. The other thing is, I'll stop every once in a while, Joy, so you can tell me if there's just a question that popped up or something that came up that I need to address. Otherwise, I'm just going to go right through, and then we'll leave time at the end as well. So you can track that for me. So the first thing, developmentally appropriate in the online early childhood classroom. My goodness, who would have ever thought we would be saying that statement right there, but we are. And here we go. First of all, in order to make your classroom developmentally appropriate, you still need a space that you work from so that the kids see, it doesn't have to look like this by any means. Mine is just like the back. I have one wall set up where it looks like a classroom, and everything in it matters. Everything in it counts, just like if you were in a physical room. You don't set up your physical classroom with bad lighting, no fun things to look at, nothing to interact with, nothing to pull from and to show your kids. You set it up to teach, right? You set it up for play. You set it up for learning. And the same thing needs to be with your space. Even if you were to scroll a little to the left of this screen and a little to the right, you know what you would see? My mess. All right. You would see like terrible lighting. You would see stacks of books everywhere, papers everywhere, places where I got lazy and didn't feel like putting things away, stacked up, but not in my teaching space. All right. In my teaching space, that's what I know my kids can see it. And I want to make sure that if they ask me something, so every time I log in and they log in and we say hello, the first thing they're like is, I see Pete the cat. I can see Pete. They're paying attention to everything that's around me. make sure that you have something that they can pay attention to that's around you, that they can talk to you about, that promotes conversation, that extends the learning that you've been doing throughout the school year. Don't make it adult focus, make it kid focused. All right. So your space, let's see. And then inside my space is where I'm teaching and I'm talking from, and I'm up close to where my laptop is, and my laptop is up, it's high, it's not down here. All right, where I'm looking down, it's up. I have it usually up about right up here. I have it high, and I have it as far away from me as I can, that I can reach it. So I'm pretty far so they can see as much space as I can. All right, so all of this matters. My point is, if you're going to make your classroom developmentally appropriate, you got to pay attention to your environment. You can't just show up online and have nothing interesting for them to talk to you about, look at, and everything should be at your fingertips. The teacher space, you're going to prepare your teacher space. So let's take a look at what that means. Whenever I'm teaching about the physical classroom, I'm always talking about the invitation to play. So there's two things we need. We need our teacher's bag, all right? Your bag of goodies, right? This is what you're going to be using to talk to your kids with. But instead of it in a bag, because you're sitting down in a circle, and why do we put it in a bag when we're sitting in circle time? We do that so the kids don't grab everything. If you set it out in front of them, they would be like hands all over it, grabbing it, and you'd be like, not yet, smacking their hands away. Oh, you wouldn't smack, obviously, but you would be still saying, no, leave it alone. Don't touch it. Don't pick it up. So you put it all in a bag, and then you pull it out when you want them to touch it and when you want them to look at it, right? Well, in your online environment, you don't need a bag, but you still need a space. And on that is your invitation to teach and everything you need. So for example, right here you're looking at, I'm going to show you several invitations to teach. And right now you're looking at what we were going to need that day. I needed some shapes. I used a block, circle, square, triangle. I needed some shapes. I needed a scarf. The kids all had a handout that was the same as mine, and they needed their name. So these are just some of the things that my kids needed, that I needed in order to teach that day. I needed scissors because we were going to do some cutting, and I needed my book. So I have all that set up. And throughout the school year, I took a few photos of some of my invitations to teach, and I'm going to share some of those photos with you. But the main thing is you'll see I have my setup sitting in front of me, laid out, where everything I need is right there at my fingertips, ready to go. And you cannot be developmentally appropriate if your kids are waiting on you to find stuff, and you're going to lose them. You've got to keep them engaged by having the next thing ready and the next thing ready, and it's ready to go and it's laid out in front of you. And I'm going to tell you why it looks cute when you have it laid out like this. Okay, you're thinking, Deb, that looks really pretty. I want yours to look pretty too, because you'll be more, it tells me that you are really thought it through, and you want it to be like if they were going to walk in your house and they would see that and they're like, wow, because the more invested you are in it, the better you will be at presenting it. So there's our developmentally appropriate teacher setup. And then we'll talk about a few more of the details, but we'll come back to that. Hang on. Let me try this. I think it's supposed to do like this. There we are. That gives you more to see and less of me and more of that. Okay. Then the kids need a space too. So I'm going to talk a minute about their space. When we think in terms of developmentally appropriate practice, a lot of times we think when we're online, we have to think differently than the physical classroom, just slightly. And we're going to think this is not appropriate. All right. But the developmentally appropriate online classroom setup for the child is a table, a chair, a place that they can set their laptop off, and some space to work. And they need to be able to get on and off of that chair as you ask them to, all by themselves. All right. That's all you need to start with. You need a table, a chair, some space that they can work in, and the ability to get on and off the chair as you ask them to. So I've asked some parents if I can use a few of their photos. This little guy, this is his workspace. And then we add to it the things that we need that day. But the workspace is always the same. This is where they go. This is where they go. And they can see what's happening, but they have room, and everything has to be hands-free. They shouldn't be holding an iPad. They shouldn't be holding a phone. It has to be set up so that their hands are free. Now they're ready to play and be hands-on with you. If they're holding, I have one little guy, and I'm going to tell you, he did it the entire school year, held an iPad, I believe is what he was holding in his hand, and he walked around the house looking at it. Not once did he lay the iPad down and touch anything but the iPad. All right, that's not necessarily developmentally appropriate, but I couldn't get that I couldn't change it. So you're going to have these situations where it's not ideal. So we're looking for the ideal situation, and the ideal situation is hands-free at a table with a chair that they can get on and off. And then we're going to add the materials they need to that space. That's all you want. You do not want them in their toy room. You do not want them on the floor with toys all around them. They won't pay attention to you. You want a boring, you're the main attraction. That's why your table is amazing. Your space is awesome. Their space is simple and as plain as possible with only what you've asked the parent to provide. If it's got everything else in it, you will not keep their attention. You just can't, because you're competing against their favorite bear, their favorite car, their dinosaur. I tell the parents, let's get rid of all that. You will do all that kind of play after we're done. Let them do that, but not during the session, right? So you see how his hands are free? What's he doing? He is singing with me. He's moving. He can see me. He's dancing. He's singing. He's sitting right now, but sometimes I'll have him stand up and do the song, and I'll stand up too, and we'll all work together. But those hands have to be free. If they're not, you have to coach the parents. Say, I need their hands free so that they can touch and move along with me. The child space. Here's another look. See these two little girls? Look how plain that is. Lord help me, that's about as plain as you can get. But that is an online learning space, because they are going to 100% be all in, and I'm going to be the main attraction. And then I will be able to coach them along, and I'm going to make sure that I'm providing them with things that are fun and hands-on and interactive, and they're going to be moving, standing, sitting, walking, singing with me, dancing. We're going to do all that. But I know I can't compete with their learning environment. Here's an example of mine to the right. That's me. I got all my stuff set up. You see how my laptop's raised, so I have an ability to reach them. And I have my sweet tea. They can't see that part, okay? But I have my drink. I have my stuff all laid out. And then this little guy, his mom, laid out his table with the things that I put online to say, today I need your child to have crayons, paper, and some leaves. They can be real or pretend. And so she cut out pretend leaves, and she put a little tray out for him to work on. So you see, so mom has her set up, and she's made it some cute, and she's added some of her own ideas, but she still moved the toys and set it up to where the main focus would be on me. And you'll see when she doesn't have her iPad up, but it would go right up there at the front. And so, okay, let's take a look at just some invitations to teach. We had voting day. I have all of my stuff out. So we've got so developmentally appropriate, we've got things that they can do. We've got puppets that I'm going to be leading the story with. We're going to lead the story with the puppets. Here's what we don't want it to be, is them, I'm not entertaining them. It's not a 20-minute session of me entertaining the kids. It's a 20-minute session of me bringing things that capture their attention and then get them involved in what I'm doing, so that they're engaged. So in other words, a lot of times you can watch one of my sessions and they're almost never sitting still and looking at me, but they are at their table. They are interacting, and I can watch them look up. If we're creating a chart, they look up at me and then they look down. They look up at me and look down. Here's an example of one of their charts. We're always creating our own charts. If they don't have a printer, we don't need one. They don't need me. They don't need a graph. They can draw their own graph. We do it every week. We create our story chart. You'll notice up at the top, they write their name, then they do their weather, then they write their letter for the day. And this was all about voting, and he voted for number 1. That was number 1 puppet, whichever one was won that day. Oh, the bee won his vote. Do you see how it's going together? So you're creating this experience, you're simplifying it, and you're creating this experience. Whether you have 20 kids or you have 5, you're creating this kind of one-on-one experience. And in their mind, they're looking at you and talking to you, but you are creating an experience that you could do with everyone. And it just takes practice. So here's like another invitation to teach. We are going to talk about seeds. I brought seeds to show them. We have our chart we're going to make. We have our markers. The child has his table ready. I have my table. Let me see if I have a child's table. I don't know. And here we've got seeds. The children will have the same thing. They'll have cotton balls, water, seeds. They have everything that I have. I have let them know ahead of time. They have the basic things so that they can plant a seed with me using a baggie, cotton balls, and water. So we are going to create a hands-on interactive experience, and I'm going to simplify, and we're going to do this together. And then hopefully it will inspire them to go outside with their moms later. We did not go outside. They went out with their parents. Part of your job is to inspire continued learning, not to try to have, you can't possibly do it all. You are going to partner with your parents more than you've ever partnered with parents before, ever. I probably have gone through 10 school years where I've talked to the parents 3 times through the school year. Parent teacher conference 1, parent teacher conference 2, and the end of it, love you, see you later, have fun in kindergarten, okay? Now all of a sudden I'm talking to the parents on a weekly basis saying, you guys, I need you to have this at the table, and oh, by the way, get rid of the toys. I'm talking to them all the time. I'm coaching them so they can help me help them have a successful experience right there at home. Okay, here's another invitation to teach. Mouse paint. I've got the mouse book out. I have my book picked out. Let's talk a minute about those books. If you're going to read a book with your kids online, it needs to be a book that you can read really well and keep them interactive. One of the things you can't do in a developmentally appropriate online classroom is tell your kids to listen to you. You can't say, boys and girls, I need you to listen to me now. No. We can't do that. We can only do that actually if we're in a physical classroom. In an online classroom, we have to have our invitation ready. We got to be ready to teach. We got to be creative. We got to keep moving. And then and we have to watch them and observe them. If we're losing them, we've got to figure out why we're losing them. But what we can't do is make it their fault. It's all about us. It's all about us improving our game, improving our skills, getting better at it, capturing their attention, finding out what works. And if you're picking out boring books, pick out better books. If you've never read the book, read it before you go online. Don't wait till you show up and try to figure out why they're not listening. You should be able to read that book so well that you can slow it down, you can speed it up, you can make it fun, engaging, just like you would in the classroom, but it's even more important now. Same with your things that you're going to bring for them to do. You need simple things that they can do right there on the spot. We did some mouse paint color mixing right on a paper plate. You'll notice it's simple. It's not incredibly messy. The parents, they don't want to do what I would do in the classroom. I'd have paint all over the tables, floors, walls, and everywhere else. They're just not into doing that. I don't know why. I mean, they would have so much more fun if they'd let these kids just go for it, but they don't. So let's keep it simple. Let's give them let's try to create some experiences. And you're going to have some parents who are going to let the kids go further, and you're going to have those who don't. But either way, you've given that child an experience that maybe they wouldn't have had, even if it's simple. And then I do a lot of flannel boards because they can see it, a lot of visuals. Here's another chart. We did our, again, our first letter or our name in the first line. They made their own chart. They made their own weather symbol. And then we also talked about the colors of the mice, and we mixed all the colors together doing that. There's Lily's version of hers. You see, Lily wrote her name, she did her weather, and then she did her mixed colors with her mice. That went straight from the book. And so, again, and you'll notice that Lily's teacher, who's at home with her, she had I didn't say mom because in her case, she had with her a like a babysitter who was helping her throughout every day. And so, but they created like a backdrop for Lily of all her things that she made, and so she had her little workspace that they were building throughout the year. The pizza, so I have my bear here. My bear is going to be, because if you've read Pizza, they take the little boy and they knead him into a pizza. He becomes the dough, and they roll him and they knead him and they toss him in the air. Well, we retell every story we do, and today our stuffed animal was our Pete. And so we rolled our bears, we tossed our bears, we kneaded our bears, and then we pretended like we were going to bake our bears and eat our bears. Okay, I can do all that online, and they can do all that they can do it from there, and it's easy. And then I showed them this pizza sauce ingredients here. I had all that out so they could see it. And then at the end, what I do is invite the parents they know ahead of time, for those who would like to finish up their day by going off with mom now and baking a real pizza. I'd love to see you do that if you can. But I don't make it where those who can't, I don't make it that big a deal, but I always give that extra thing that they could do. Let's see. I think that's probably the last one that I took. Let's see if that's the last picture. Hold on. Yeah, that's the last picture I brought for you to look at today. And I'm sure you'd probably love to see more. And I wish I had more that I could share with you today, but that is all I brought. So let's take a minute and see if there's any questions. My main thing that I want you to come away, though, before I take questions, the main thing I'm going to unshare. Let's see. Hold on, I got to figure out how to do it. Okay, there we go. The main thing I want you to come away with today is that you need to have your teacher area set up, and you need to think about all the things that you're going to want to do to invite your children to come and play, to read, to sing, to move, to paint, to draw with you in a space. They should have their own space that's simple. They should be able to get up and get down, and then you should have this plan. Don't over plan, don't overthink it, don't overcomplicate it, keep it simple. So now I'm going to take a few questions if there's any, and then I'm going to walk you through a quick what my session looks like in a 20-minute session. I'm going to show it to you in less than 5. All right, let's see. Anything, Joy?
Love that. Yeah, absolutely. So that was one of the questions. So we'll wait for your schedule in just a second. Now, this is a really good one. Amanda says, do you use a document camera to show your materials?
No. I have my laptop. Okay. And then I do this kind of thing. Okay, so today I move things around, but my table is wide. So I'm not at home. I'm sorry. I'm visiting my grandchildren in Virginia, so I couldn't show you my day. But my table is wide. If I show you what's on the side here, you're going to see that we were sewing socks. Okay. All right. But I would do that. Like I would just show them like around my space by just turning. But I have this wide table, and to the left is like maybe some things, and then to the right is some things, and then behind me, and then right in front of me down. But I stack boxes so that I don't have to move my computer much, and everything is just laid out and just in arm's length. And I turn a little this way, turn a little that way. But I don't have any special camera equipment. Girl, we're teachers. We can't afford that stuff. We use like shoe boxes and we lift things up. All right. Let me show you. Here's the box. See my computer set. Just use what you got and make it work. Don't try to get all fancy. You'll spend your money on the wrong things.
Yeah.
Right. All you need is simple setup with a big wide table. Go to Walmart, get one of those folding tables, spread it out, get your chair, and then set out what you need on it with a few boxes and play with it. Okay, so I do want to show you this. See them like this at home too, and that way I can move it this way or this way real easy. But I still have my table, and this stand sits behind my table, so I have just a lot of space on my table. That's what I mainly need, and then I work from there. Sorry, I'm not at home. I wish I were, but
no, that's great. Your pictures are awesome.
Ask me what date to do this. All right, she told me. All right, right? I wasn't changing my vacation plan. All right.
No, we're so glad you're here with us. The pictures were amazing.
Any
Yeah,
other
if you could,
questions? 'Cause I know I'm running
well, yeah, if you could share your schedule that you said you'd
All
share
right,
with us.
let's go through the schedule. It's the same every time, pretty much. And you know, you probably have a lot more things that you need to cover, but it looks like this. All right. So I'm going to show you real quick. I start off every morning with a hello song. The kids log in right at 9 o'clock. We start, and I'm like, "Good morning, boys and girls. Let's sing our hello song. You ready? Hello, 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 and how are you? I'm fine. I'm fine, and I hope that you are too." There's always a pause. Wait for the pause because you're online. All right. So wait for the pause and keep going. But why do I do the silent? I do things that I would do in the classroom to capture attention. I would have done it in the classroom. I'm doing it online. Whatever it takes to capture attention. And that captures, they're like, "Oh, you got so quiet. What happened?" Right. And I also, everybody's muted but me. Make sure you understand that. Nobody can, they can only hear me. You cannot teach in an online environment with everybody unmuted. Learn to mute and unmute throughout your session. Right now, everybody's muted the minute I start. And I'm spotlighted. I'm big, they're little. All right, so they can see me. And then I will change all that when I need to. All right, so those are some tips that you have to do in order to make it work. All right, so hello, I'm done. Now I go straight into weather, weather. I have a question for you. Weather, 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 weather. What will the weather be today? I was looking to see if Kara had a pen in here. Sorry about that. Okay. And so I take it and they have their paper and I'm like, let's make our chart. And today and every week we make our storybook chart. And it might change. And I show them, we're going to draw a line from the top to the bottom and from the side to the side. And you should have 4 boxes. 1, 2, 3, 4. All right. And then they see their square. Sometimes the chart has 6 boxes. It just depends on what we're doing that day. And then they write their name. I have in advance given every child a sentence strip or asked the parent to make one with their name on it. And they have it laid in front of them. I have one, they have one, and we write our name. We write our weather symbol. And I sing about that. And I ask them, I have some, and I'm like, is it wet? Is it cold at your house? Sunny at your house? Why do we do that? Yes, they can go outside and learn more about the weather. No question about it. But this is a way for us. It's something we all have in common. We can connect on, we can talk about, we can communicate about, we can go out and compare. So it isn't about learning all about the weather. Yeah, we need to go outside and experience the rain, but I can't very well tell them to go take their iPads outside on a rainy day and do that because moms and dads do not like their iPads to get wet. Okay, I don't know why. They're just so stubborn. Okay, so we've done our weather, and then down here we'll do something that goes along with our story here and here. A lot of times this is our letter of the day, and I do action letters. So today our letter is the C. We're going to draw the C in the air. Make sure you know whether you're drawing it forward or backward. Sometimes I can't tell. I got to practice that later. And then do, I'm going to have them make it. Then I'm going to probably go straight into, after we've done our chart, we usually save our last square till after our story. All right, so we've done our chart. Now we're saving our last square, and then I might have a song. I'm like, let's all stand up and we're going to do this game, or we're going to do a song, and I'm going to do something simple with them. And then we're going to take a look at I usually have 3 or 4 props I brought that go with our story. I show those props, we talk about them. We look at them, we see what they're like, and then I read a story. We read the story. After we've read the story, then I take them and I have something hands-on for them to do. Maybe if it's mouse paint, we're going to paint together. If it's mouse shapes, we're going to create a shape with shapes together. The parents have put this stuff together ahead of time, and they now set it. I watch them all the time. It's funny because they could set that stuff out from the time we start, but when they do, I think the parents realize the kids mess with it. And so the parents got to where they waited until Miss Stewart said, let's do some painting now. Next thing I see is all the parents dropping stuff in front of their kid to do the painting. So the parents get it, but I don't worry about it. If they already have everything in front of them through the whole thing and they're messing with it, I keep going because the kids are hearing me, because their setup is correct. They're in a chair, they're facing me. Because how do I know? Because then I'll say, hey, you guys, I think we should stand up and do this song. Let's do it real quick. Everybody stand up, shake with me. And everybody does it. Even the ones fidgeting. If they had no idea what I was doing, they would not be standing up. All right, so then we do our story, we do our song, we do a game, we do our activity. It's super simple. And then we come to the end and we do a goodbye song. And all of this is going to be related to whatever our lesson is on that day. So it's all connecting the dots like you would do typically in your classroom. You're connecting dots. If you're talking about the story of mouse paint, you're talking about mouse colors, you're identifying colors, you're creating colors in your chart, but it's done in 20 minutes. It's done with a simple setup, and it's interactive and busy. And I'm just keeping them moving along through the whole thing and having fun with them and not focus on behavior, because you can't do it. That is not your job now, not online. Your focus is on delivering an amazing experience and keeping them engaged in the process. And if it's not working and you find yourself having to say, Charlie, I need you to come back over here and sit down, Charlie, and you're screaming across the screen trying to correct their child in their house, it ain't going to happen. So that's when you got to go back to the drawing table and say, hey, I need you to change Charlie's environment so we can work together. So the parent has to partner with you. All right. You cannot fix Charlie for them. Right. So you got a partner. And if you are over his head on what they're learning, if they're like, well, I can't get him to sit there, then you've got to figure out how can you adjust your part so that Charlie wants to stay. But Charlie may run back and forth for the first 3 weeks of school, maybe a month, but he'll get better if you stay the course and mom and dad trust you with it and they help you stay the course. He will. I saw kids that could not do one little thing I asked them to do. Within a month, the parents were like, whoa, I did not think my kid could do this. And all of a sudden they're doing it. So you stay the course, stay active, stay hands-on, stay interesting, engaging, get ready, have a teacher set up, have the child set up appropriately, and go for it and stay consistent week after week, and they will get it. But you just have to love it enough to keep trying, tweak it. All right. Okay, I hope that helps. I know it's a lot and there's so much to cover, but I hope that helped today and inspired you to go for it and have fun with it, because you guys, what you're doing, whether it's online or in the classroom, is amazing and it's making a difference. And I couldn't be more proud of the early childhood people. You guys rock. Right, right, Team Joy? They rock.
Yes. Awesome. Deborah, thank you so much. Don't leave quite yet. We are going to say thank you to you. Everybody give her some clapping in our pictures.
Clapping. I like it. I didn't
yes.
get one of those. Okay, so here we are.
There you go. Anyways, also, I want to let everybody know she has an online preschool. And if you know someone who is ages 3 to 5, including your friend, your sister, your cousin, your neighbor down the street, including yourself if you have a child ages 3 to 5, who would love to attend her online preschool, let's get you in there. Are you doing Kindy Ready this fall?
Well, that's a big question. So,
okay.
So before we dive into that, I do have everything still set up, but I might change how I'm doing it a little bit.
Okay.
So that, don't even go down that path, because I'm always changing what I want to do based on what I feel like's working for me and my grandkids. I'm getting older.
Perfect.
I got grandkids. What I would rather do, I'm hoping I'm talking mostly to a teacher, people who are teaching. I'd rather be there for them, and hopefully you guys are able to build your own classrooms, build your own students, build your connection with them, and let me support you in that process. That's really probably where I'm more interested in than trying to nab their kids, because I got enough of my own already. I got my grandkids to deal with, so let's just stop there.
No, that's perfect. Okay, so I just dropped the link to teachpreschool.org and your Facebook page, Teach Preschool. So go follow her over on Facebook. Go read her blog. That sound good?
That's the best place to go, because we're going to be adding new things to Teach Preschool, new resources that hopefully that they could use. We do lots of really fun, engaging printables where our printables are all about getting kids actively involved, not just filling out a worksheet, but getting them actively involved. They might have music and activities and action. So we're going to hopefully be able to get those. That would be my first goal by next fall, having those available for teachers to download and use. on their online classrooms or in their
Cool.
physical. But I'm not even done yet. So
That's amazing.
yeah,
Well,
I'm very good. I'm not like you, Joy. I'm very slow at everything I do.
well, you're phenomenal. Deborah, we're so glad you're here today, and enjoy your vacation. We want to make sure you get back to it.
All right. Thank you. You guys have a fun conference. I'm sure Joy's making it amazing for you. Bye, Joy. Enjoy it.
Awesome. See you, Deborah. Bye. If you loved today's episode, then you are going to love this. I want to give you a free gift in your hands. This is a copy of my book, Start Your Preschool, and I want to get it to you for free. Yes, I said for free. It is a 300-page book. It'll help you learn the step-by-step process to actually starting your local or your online preschool. Every single step that I walked myself through, as well as the thousands of women who've created their own successful preschools, have gone through the exact steps listed in this book. Not to mention, I also share 20 amazing women's stories. So you can see how not only did it work for me, but it works for amazing women just like you as well. I want to get you this free copy. Just go to freepreschoolbook.com or click the link in the description and we'll get it to you today. Again, just go to freepreschoolbook.com and we'll get it right to you.